Brought to you by Express Care Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. If you're just joining us, we are talking about damage and complications of diabetes. Let's talk about other issues that are associated with the disease. Now, Doc, I was reading a lot about foot complications, and we've heard, I'm sure almost everybody on the island knows somebody who may have had to have a limb amputated as a result of this disease. Can you talk a little bit about how this happens and this is all a result of diabetes?
Yeah, so as we were talking about, one of the problems with high blood sugar is that it will damage organs, and one of the organs it will damage is your nerves. So the nerves that travel down to your legs are also affected by your blood circulation. If there's a lot of sugar in there, a lot of inflammation, they'll stop working, and your fingertips and toes, especially toes, will become numb. Then when you trip and just stub your toe a little bit, you won't notice that you had a little cut there. Then you'll step on something else and you'll get an infection in that toe. Then, because there's such poor circulation, that can't heal. And see, here people come in and they say, oh, give me antibiotics. No antibiotic will fix you if your blood sugar is very, very high, because there's just such a high bacterial load. There's so much food for those bacteria, it's very difficult to kill them off. So then cleaning is very important. Just doing everything you can to reduce the level of the blood sugar with medication that will be prescribed to you. But if over time, basically this happens over and over and over, there's so much damage and so much recurrent infection that there's just no oxygen, not enough circulation going to the foot, and that's where people will lose their foot or just have an ulcer that just doesn't heal. It goes on and on and on and on for such a long time. So we call those neuropathic ulcers. They're due to the fact that the nerves are not supplying the skin properly, and people are not perceiving pain and getting infections.
And so that's why a lot of times you'll see that their skin tends to get really dark.
It does, and that's a good observation. You know, people, you can look at your legs and see, okay, are they kind of brown? Am I seeing kind of like brown spots there? Kind of like a thickened skin or a yellowish skin? This all goes along with diabetes just from the circulation that's involved there. And it's one of the signs. Another skin sign is darkness around the neck, and you'll see that in a lot of overweight people, especially people with diabetes. They'll have like a thickened, almost like an elephant skin, dark discoloration right around their neck, and that's not removable with any cream or laser. That is a sign that inside you have a metabolic problem of high blood sugar. And sadly, I see that now. We're doing a lot of school physicals. We see it in children. And it's one of the first signs. You just take a look at your child's neck. It's not from you didn't wash it well enough. It's like a velvety appearance. And that comes from a propensity to diabetes or already having diabetes.
Wow, so you even got to start when the kids are young.
Yes, oh yes,
definitely.
For sure.
Okay, and now hearing loss isn't really as big of a complication as foot complications, but it can be?
It can be. See, diabetes, as we're talking about the nerves, the little nerves that supply the feet and toes, we also have larger nerves that supply, for example, our hearing or other parts of our body. And diabetes can affect just a single nerve sometimes. And so if it knocks out your auditory nerve, the one that goes for your hearing, you're going to lose your hearing. And so sometimes it can happen also through a stroke also. That's another way that you could lose your hearing.
Now, another thing I was reading is that oral health is very important. Tell us why and what people should do.
Okay, well, just like we're saying, okay, the high blood sugar makes you more prone to infections. You want to reduce your bacterial load everywhere. And if in your mouth you've got a lot of germs and a lot of sweet sugar from inside your high blood sugar, you're going to get more gum disease, cavities, abscesses. That means, you know, infections in around your teeth, and develop problems that can then spread throughout your body. So if you have a really bad tooth abscess, that infection can get into your bloodstream and cause you to get very, very ill. So it's super important for diabetics to have regular dental checkups and cleanings so that their mouths can be very clean.
Now, one complication that I was reading about that I've never heard of before and didn't even associate with diabetes was mental issues, such as depression.
Yes, absolutely. Well, depression is just huge in diabetes. First of all, the disease is kind of depressing, okay, to have to be taking shots and pills and all of that. But even aside from that, even with the best outlook, it can cause a chemical imbalance in your brain where you just become depressed, and then you don't really care anymore about your blood sugar or any infections you have or exercising or your diet. And I see this a lot. And so if you have a family member that's diabetic, check it out. You know, are you feeling kind of down? You know, you kind of don't feel like doing things like you used to, because depression is treatable. And when you treat the depression, the energy will come back and they'll be a little bit more enthusiastic about taking care of themselves. And you know, this is really the key, isn't it? To take care of yourself, then other people won't have to take care of you, you know?
That's true. So as we wrap up our discussion, our 2-week-long discussion on this, it's been so informative. Just kind of an overview for our viewers out there. Prevention is key. I mean, and you were talking about even in young kids, watching what your kids eat, making sure that they have more vegetables, getting them off the iPads and the TV and outside playing. And even for adults, we need our exercise as well. We need to eat more vegetables. Just your last parting words of wisdom to our viewers out there about preventing it if you're in that, you know, what is that, 100 to 126 range?
100 to 126 as a fasting blood sugar, yeah. So being aware, I think facing reality, knowing that, okay, in your family there's a lot of diabetes, get checked once a year at least. You know, if you do already have diabetes, deal with it. Don't settle for a sugar of 250 or 300, at least know what it is. Do what you need to do to get it down, and if that means getting on insulin, that may be what you have to do. But the best thing to do would be to have avoided that in the first place, and as a young adult, to stay at a healthy body weight, to be exercising, to be eating the proper foods that are healthy for you, including vegetables and fish, and then doing the best you can to make your disease as little as it can be.
All right, Doc, thanks so much for all that information, and I'm going to go home and poke my finger now and see what mine is, and I'm hoping it's under 100. Thanks, Doc, for coming in. Dr. Lom will be back again with us again next week, and we are going to be talking about allergies. So break out your Kleenex. Send us your questions to healthyliving@kwam.com or post a comment on the KWAM News Facebook page. Healthy Living returns right after this.